to our series, Get Real, All Things CPG. We're really excited to have you. I don't know if you remember, we talked a couple of years ago when we first came out with our creamers and instants, but we were so confined in the ingredients that the only giveaway we promised to do is, but now things have changed.
Great.
So let's do it with our mallows. Let's definitely get a giveaway going.
Good.
I would love it. I am so impressed with everything you've done. Your website's amazing. Your Instagram is phenomenal. I love your video in the beginning. And so we just have some questions, but do you want to introduce yourself? My name, let me just tell the audience in case you're the first tuning in. I'm Shari Leidick, the founder of No Brainer Foods, formerly the founder of Two Moms in the Raw. I was diagnosed with MS. So that's my story and why I went into the healing foods industry, and we create functional, best for you products. I have a colleague, a friend, a child. I wish, well, I have 3 children, but you could be part of them. Jordan, who's amazing. Jordan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Jordan. I am 23 now. Just graduated from Yale in May. Was diagnosed with celiac disease my freshman year of college, and kind of ever since then have become just absolutely obsessed with the category. Saw when Sherry won the NOSH 2019 pitch competition, got into her inbox, chased her down, and then finally convinced her recently to let me help out in kind of the day-to-day operations side of things. So happy
so he's part of our team now.
Okay, perfect. Great. Well, congratulations, and
Thank
good
you.
On you for kind of focusing, Jordan, on figuring out how to get the celiac. And are you able to manage your celiac with how you eat?
Yeah, it was honestly a huge learning curve. I mean, granted, so I was diagnosed when I was 18, and the reason why I'm so interested in this space is because, I mean, I'm always on the lookout to try to find a product that tasted just as good as something that I had previously eaten for the first 18 years of my life. And that's kind of the way I'm starting to do things now. I'm going into grocery stores, trying to find the next best product that tastes just as good as something I never had to really worry about what the ingredient label said. So, but short answer, yes, I have been able to figure it out, and I'm feeling much better now, which has been great.
Okay. Well, I struggle with IBS, which was kind of the catch-all of I'm bloated, I'm miserable, I just want to lay down. Like, what do I need to do to kind of take this awful numbing feeling away? And it was just like, well, it's just, it's just IBS. And then I tried all elimination diets. And then really, my low-fat diet was the issue. So I'm not lactose intolerant. I'm not, celiac. I don't have any issues with gluten. I don't have any issues with a lot of the allergens. I just kind of had, 20 years of a low fat diet and too much sugar, too much carbs, not enough good fats. And it was just like, I literally went 4 years where I was bloated every day and miserable. And I remember the first time I started feeling, there's one particular week I started feeling normal, where I didn't have this numbing, bloated feeling. And I was like, wow, this is what it feels to not have, you're 24/7, you wake up in the middle of the night and your mental energy goes to your stomach. So now I want to kind of also spread the word on a high fat, low sugar diet.
And, we were brought up that fat was the enemy. And that, terrible.
Yeah, my dad had cardiovascular, and we had margarine in the house, and he was watching his cholesterol, and
exactly.
Then we had Snackwells with low fat everything. So I was, trying to lose 20 pounds. So I would go to the grocery store in my 20s and try to buy everything with that green logo. And I was doing that, then I started running, and then I started doing marathons and Ironman. And then I was semi-competitive, and guess what? Like, if you're leaner, you can go a bit faster, and I couldn't lose the weight. And I was on a low fat diet, trying to kind of do marathons, eventually Ironmans, eating all the wrong nutrition, like literally 180 different than what I'm eating now. So when it became clear in my mid 40s, I wasn't Superwoman. I crashed with, 20 years of low fat, and I had a job that I was commuting across the country. I just kind of, single mom, balancing way too many things. I just crashed. and cardiovascular disease. I had high blood pressure, and I had like really kind of numbing IBS, and changed my diet. And
Change your
guess
life.
what?
And are you still running and competing and stuff like that?
So I'm not competing. My last Ironman was 2014, and then I took a job in Vancouver, and then I read the book in 2016. And the last 3 years I started the company. And you know, the reality of starting a company, and we're like a hyper growth. So we went, you know, a couple 100,000, and we grew 5,500% the first year. We grew 550% the second year. Now we're on to our third year. Like, I didn't see my kids. I didn't see my partner. I lived in hotels, and I was, you know, when I was doing for 10 years, I was balancing doing an Ironman and single mom. I was always getting up really, really early. So I continued to do that when I started my company. But now I literally, you know, from 4:30 to often 6 hours straight, I would just kind of work like, okay, I got to get this deck, got to get this and that. So it was really, really intense. Now there's a little bit COVID. The gift of COVID for me personally has been, okay, you know, I'm back to running and yoga.
Oh, congratulations. But you really mastered distribution right away. I know Jordan was going to ask you, but Jordan, do you mind if I just hop in and say, I mean, you got into Whole Foods. And all this, like, so to those people trying to build a brand and trying to make things happen, how did that distribution happen?
Yeah, well,
especially in a bar category, which is so crowded. Kudos.
Yeah, well, you would know about bars, and I remember seeing your bar at, you know, Expo West, I think 2015. So it's, you know, there's 400 bar brands out there, and hundreds of dozens of thousands of SKUs. Like, the bar category is really, really tough. I think there's 400 bar brands that are less than 1 market share. So to kind of get from below 1 market share to above 1 market share is really hard. We're very fortunate. You know, I just launched in Canada, in Toronto, at UNFI and Purity Life, the 2 distributors, 5 stores, and then 20, and then 100. And by Christmas, I think we were, so 4 months in, we were 107.
And by the way, in Canada, you're saying, because Canada is the mecca for keto. Like, it's just like everybody wants it.
Yeah, there's certainly, but you know, when I launched, the word keto then wasn't even on the radar if you look at the Google trends, but it's a low sugar, high fat, really delicious bar. So I had, you know, packaging that I'm kind of embarrassed about now, but that's what I had. And we got into 100 stores, the 6 Whole Foods, and we really started being the #1 and 2 best-selling SKUs within 6 weeks at all the large natural health food stores. So that allowed us to springboard. Let's make 2 more flavors. Let's fix the packaging. We kept iterating the recipes a little bit, like certainly fast, right? Every production run we're making changes on everything. And by January, we're presenting to the big grocery chains. So month 5, we're presenting to the big grocery chains in Canada. Month 10, we're on PDQs at Walmart in Canada. Month 17, we're at Costco in Canada in 6 warehouses.
Oh, you got into Costco right away.
Yeah, like pretty quickly, month like 17, 18. And then, you know, the brand was smashing records. Like, we were 3 and 4 times more POS than the leading bar at Costco. So the phone was ringing, like, it was crazy. And then, you know, because the velocities were so strong at the North American banner, so the Whole Foods, the Walmarts, the Costcos, a lot of the US banners were looking at these numbers and saying, what's going on? So we got a lot of phone calls really early into. So we were lucky to be invited to present to Whole Foods in June of 2018. On the shelf in January of 2019.
Global?
Yeah, we got listed with a national launch in January of 19. We gave Whole Food an exclusive for 3 months, and then UNFI and KeHE doors open up.
Are you using a broker?
Yeah, well, we started we started just with Whole Foods and then got listed right away at Unify and KeHE. So pretty much all the different warehouses, because we were national at Whole Foods. So that forces a good distribution. And
Right.
then we brought on Acosta. So our broker in
Acosta.
Canada is Acosta NSS, and we brought on Acosta to partner in the US. So,
Okay.
you know, we're pretty well set up. We have the two big distributors with national warehouses access. We have a large national broker. We have a sales team in the US. So we're in about 14,000 doors.
Oh my gosh! Well, I just bought your product on your website today.
Yep. Okay. Good.
I was amazed at the shipping. Oh, you saw it come through?
Yeah, I saw your name. Yeah, I still see all the orders.
That's the best. Even with brands exploding, like when you hear founders still like track and go in, like look the order and are like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Well, I don't. Like, I'll get in trouble if I say, if I say that I'm like actually spending my time doing that, but I actually, I see on my phone, I see all the orders kind of come in. So, and I see all the, Instagram, and I see
But my question for you, and then I know you have some questions, Jordan, is that we found like we have so much interest in Canada. We did have a distributor. He retired, and now they're kind of banging on our doors again. The shipping is insane with the new administration and how they've, added on all these tariffs and all this stuff. So I'm just wondering how, first of all, you have shipping on DTC, but it's working. Yep. I bought it anyway.
Yep.
Your shipping was a lot lower than I thought it would be. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, our shipping, I mean, when we first launched, I mean, I myself, set up the little Shopify, and then we had to figure out how to plug in Amazon, and, how to pay US Postal, and how to get the 3PL plugged in, connected and stuff. So we kind of figured that all out, one person, and then there was 3 or 4. I had a couple of contracts. So we figured all of that out.
Well, you're doing a 3PL. You're doing somebody in the United States that fulfills. Yep. That's so smart.
So I found a US 3PL. So we have Shopify Canada, Shopify US, Amazon Canada, Amazon US, US 3PL, Canadian 3PL.
You hear that, Jordan? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do. Yeah.
When we started, it was free shipping. Like, times were a bit different, but we pretty much did free shipping like on all orders the first 24 months. Now, now we kind of learned that, well, wait a minute, we're losing money on a bunch of stuff. And then we have so many users that are buying 4 packs. Like, so that's our best value.
Right, because then you get 5, 4, get 1.
Yeah.
Is that your thing? Yeah, I didn't do that.
You have your 4 packs, or you get buy 4, get 1. But really, when you move to 4 or 5, like, that's where you get the best value. So I want to kind of go back and relook. How do we make sure that the first trial, you still get a good deal? Because you can get for free shipping with some codes, but
I couldn't find the codes. I looked.
Yeah. You're reminding me to kind of go back to the team, because we want to encourage first triers.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of a first trier for your gooey one. I'm very excited to try.
Yeah, the chewy nutty.
Oh, I'm so excited. So I did want free shipping, just to let you know.
Okay.
Well, I gave it anyway because you're such a sweet person. And I thought it was coming from Canada, but now I realize.
Yeah, no, it's coming from Chicago. Smart. Yeah.
So this is a lot of great information, Jordan, for like the audience to learn.
It's so great. And I had one quick question kind of about how you are deciding about rolling out new flavors, and how does your team go about figuring out when the next one is going to come out, what that flavor will be? Right now, No Brainer, I think Sherry, we mentioned in the last one, but we're going to be launching a 6th SKU, which is just a new flavor, a birthday cake flavor. And we were just curious, I mean, how do you guys really get conviction that the next flavor is going to be the next one?
Yeah. So Jordan, well, my background is consumer packaged goods. So I kind of have the benefit of 25 years of that's your job in marketing, whether you're a brand assistant or a VP of marketing. You kind of have to, you learn the basics of line extensions and how to validate your line extensions, how to be at that optimal point where you don't have too many. So you kind of see the big brands right now have too many line extensions. Right. So they're actually culling their flavors down because the new guys are coming in, and our turns are much, much higher than a brand that has 40 SKUs. And, they're like, they have 15 that don't don't turn at all. So my background, there's kind of a whole art and science to do that. But the simple way to think about it is, and there's all these different tools, because my background's packaged goods, I've done concept research, and then you do research on the new flavors, you optimize. And then what you're trying to figure out is, if I have 4 SKUs, what will my revenue be? If I have 6, if I have 8, what will be the cannibalization of 6 and 8? So my net incremental. And that's kind of the holy grail is, with packaged goods, innovate or die. So if you don't innovate, you die.
Right.
But innovation has a 80 to 98% fail rate. Right? So it's kind of
story.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, you're kind of in this dynamic that if you don't innovate. So I launched with 2 bars because that was my money, my kids' money really, and then the early angel investors that just kind of put in 10 to 25,000 at a time, and then say, okay, let's turn the machines on, because the machines, your minimum were 100,000 bars, so it's not kind of a low cost way to start. And then, but then within 6 weeks, when you know that in the largest natural stores in Toronto, you're number 1 and 2, what the board and I said, I wasn't even an employee yet. I was an unpaid employee. We said, okay.
It was your company, but you weren't being paid. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. So then we did 2 more. So we know in bars, for example, that, 4 is the bare minimum you'd want to have. 6 starts being good, but you have to make sure they're the right flavors, because if you have 6 chocolates, that's not going to work. And then 8 to 10 is kind of a very good sweet spot. Then after that, then you start having, 3 different versions of peanut, chocolate, something, or then you try to go do niche, ginger, something. Oh, whoops, that may not work, right? So there's, in flavor segmentation, there's a pie, and you want to play in the big pie. So peanut butter chocolate, lemon is a big part of the pie, coconut chocolate, something, mint is a big, those are all big pie slices. We're staying away from the niche pie slices, just from my background. I also worked at Weight Watchers, so I launched all the bars that they have there. That was part of what I was doing when I was there. So you want to just go to 8 to 10 in bars and have the right flavors, but consumers get flavor fatigue.
Yeah.
In your category, I don't know, 6 might be the right number. Obviously, there's win with the consumer, win with the retailer, win with the company. So the golden triangle. With the retailer, you want more shelf space, right? Like that's why there's kind of this race to have innovation at the shelf, because if you're able to get an extra 4 inches, great, the consumer is going to notice you more. So it's this fine line where you want to have line extensions in packaged goods. Often in the companies I was at, Heinz, Conagra, PepsiCo, sometimes the line extensions will not be incremental to the brand, but it will avoid your competitor taking your shelf space.
Yeah, exactly. Now, are you selling by the bar or the box at Whole Foods?
We do both. So in Canada, we're very fortunate. All the retailers sell by the box. So you have the box at 12, and they have 2 price tags. They have the bar and they have the box in Canada. In the US, not all retailers have the bar and the box, but in Canada, they pretty much all do. And for consumers, once they like your bar, they just go to the shelf and grab the mint. So we're trying to bring those success stories to our US retailer partners.
It's interesting. I think it kind of brings me to my next question in terms of you guys. You said you kind of don't play in that kind of more niche flavor category. And I'm curious to kind of hear how you think about like a seasonal flavor profile. And a conversation I had recently with Gabby Lewis at Magic Spoon, and he was really talking about how their release of new seasonal products is really a way that they hang on to repeat purchase as like a new thing that people are excited about.
Yes,
Here's kind of what you guys think
seasonal
about
is a hot topic. I think it's Cliff maybe 5 years ago launched the 2 seasonal SKUs, and that changed the world because it
that.
was the 2 winter flavors, and oh my God, gangbusters, and every other brand in the world were like, whoa, we got to do seasonal. Now everyone's trying to do the pumpkin and the
You almost
winter
forget about
flavors.
Cliff. I kind of forgot
Yeah.
about that Cliff
Yeah.
existed for a little bit.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think so. We've stayed away so far of seasonal. Like the machine, you know, there's a race for seasonal, and the machine to kind of get the products made. Like for us, the R&D is a lot of work. So our bars are really, really hard to make because we get all this fat,
Are
no
you making them?
binders. Pardon?
Are you making them?
We have a co-packer.
Okay.
But it's, yeah, and it's a proprietary process. It's taken me 2 PhDs in fats and 200 formulas, and we're still iterating. The bars are really hard to make. So for us, the seasonal, like once we're bigger, it'll kind of make sense, but you always have to balance off the seasonal with the R&D it's going to take you to make, how much are you going to sell in, and then, you know, if you don't plan it right and you have write-offs and markdowns, then you could be worse off.
So it's interesting you said that, because I've heard from a lot of colleagues in the industry how much they've lost trying to do a pumpkin spice or whatever, and then they're left with all this packaging, and then it's all I mean, so it never really works great for Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar is, I think is
so we're staying, you know, until we're bigger, and the machine, you know, we're just still kind of a baby brand in the US. So we're kind of learning our way. We've done a kind of a semi-seasonal version of a pride pack, so a diversity celebration mix pack in Canada, where we gave the retailer a 12 pack with variety inside to celebrate diversity. There's $1 that went to an LGBTQ plus organization, so we raised $50,000 with the donations to save. This organization saves lives. So I think we saved 4 lives. But even with that variety pack, that diversity pack, we've had, unfortunately, even though our brand is, you know, top brand in Canada, there's still the challenge of some markdowns. So that's kind of how we dipped our toe into a seasonal, but you know, it's you're better to kind of make sure that your energy's focused on a sustainable SKU that'll be on the shelf in the next 5 years.
So Suzie, what has been your biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge for sure has been to get the bars made. I think the challenge before that, it was to get the confidence to really take that first step. So I was approaching 50. For 35 years, I wanted to start my own brand. And then for, you know, a year and a half, I had a PowerPoint, a blank, you know, PowerPoint with some ideas, but I hadn't really kind of jumped in and kind of started spending my own money. And I think I kind of told about 100 people that I was starting my own company, but I wasn't really, you know, believing myself yet. And taking that plunge, taking that first step as an entrepreneur, where you go from a safe PowerPoint with an idea that you're chopping around and asking for advice and asking for help, to, okay, I'm spending money and I'm making a product, I'm making packaging, I'm making some samples, this is real. That's kind of the scariest first step. And it's the most important first step. So
completely. You know, I'm probably the same age as you. And you inspire me, because I'm thinking of what like Jordan can do in an hour. Like I just tried to get on an IG interview. It took me 20 minutes to figure out how to get on the goddamn interview. Yeah. I'm like sitting there, you know, punching the thing, and everyone's texting me like, do this, do that. And I'm just thinking that our age, I mean, I think we have a lot of resilience. I think we're tenacious. I think we're committed. We're responsible. We actually answer emails. But on the other hand, you know, we're a little more tired. Our mind is a little more, full of, how are my kids doing? Or, there's just other things in our brain, because we speak to a lot of people in this industry that are probably 30 years younger than we are, you and I. Maybe 25, I'll give that. But that was 25 years. So, I mean, it adds up. And I think we give a lot of wisdom, but you're such an inspiration because, like you said, you take that first step, but then keep going. I mean,
but Sherry, I would there's so many articles now about the entrepreneurs are way older than you think. I think we all kind of look at, a Facebook founder and like these kind of kids in t-shirts and jeans that are kind of seemingly, but the reality is if you look at the successful new emerging brands that are out there right now, you pick the top, 50, and you look at the average age of the founders of those top 50, it's in late 40s and 50s. And again, Forbes, I think, was last week about an article about why, there's so many entrepreneurs that are, we're older with the successful brands. Not saying that you shouldn't start when you're 20, but it's not, you can go the route I did, which is very rare, and spend 20 years in packaged goods and learn the basics and then have the gusto to become an entrepreneur, which is very rare, right? I had a paycheck for 25 years. Or you can start like in your 20s, but the serial entrepreneurs, like by the time they're our age, they've launched 10 and 12 brands. There's kind of two ways to go about it. It appears that there's more kind of serial entrepreneurs, but by the time you get to your successful ones, you often have a lot of other ones under your belt. So I think there's that combination when you're spending your own money.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're putting your name out there, every single meeting has been putting my name, right? And every dollar of the angel investors has come to because I've inspired someone to believe in me and the ability to bring this idea to life.
Right. Can you send me that article? I'm going to post it on my LinkedIn.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm very pleased to be doing this podcast. We're also opening up a podcast very shortly, founder to founder. So I'm going to do a series on interactive initially. So a series on founder to founder. So we're going to cover the basics, positioning and product, innovation, the P&L and trademark. So about 8 parts to start off with. And hopefully kind of open it up to all other founders. I get multiple requests a week for advice, and I kind of just decided I'm going to just do an 8-part series.
That's great.
And make it interactive so we can have Q&As before and after. And then
if you need any support, I'm available to you.
Yep. So I'll definitely tap into that, and you can help kind of share the word. And
absolutely, I will definitely do that. Yeah. We do have before we sign off though, Jordan does have something.
Yeah.
The final question here. If you had an extra hour in the day, where would you spend it and why? Doesn't need to be with Love Good Fats. It could be totally because it's your baby, but
no, I would spend it exercising. Actually, I've thought about this a few times. It's come up, and because I had exercising as a key part of my life for 20 years. And then for the last 3 years, I literally would go, 6 days without even 20 minutes. My body needs the adrenaline. I feel better. I'm a higher performer. And even now that I have dogs, I walk the dogs, I do little runs and yoga. If I had every extra hour that I have, I'm trying to think about, okay, how can I do, I have a 20-minute vinyasa in the living room I can do. How do I open it up? Because every single time my brain clears, especially on runs, I come back and I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I've solved these things. So that's where the first hour goes, if I can get an extra hour.
Awesome.
Sounds great. I think this was like, we've only had 2.
This is so fun. This is why this industry, this category, CPG, is the place to live. I mean, it's the best. Everyone's so helpful.
You're amazing. You and your puppy. I'm so happy for you, Suzie, and I'm really happy for your success.
Okay, well, thank you. Send me the info. We'll repost
Oh, yes, definitely. And also send me that article, the link, because I'm going to get that on our 50s and older LinkedIn.
And we'll send you our information on our webinar series.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.